Hi guys, welcome to live review number 9, I think it is. I always forget the number of these live reviews and we don't do them that often. And in fact, we haven't done a live review with just the two of us for quite a while now. I think it was the Beavertown, Gamma Ray and Smog Rocket when it was just both of us. And yeah, so we thought we'd do another one. And we've got 2 beers today. We were initially going to do 2 beers anyway, but it's really hit and miss whether you can get the beers. You'll see them and then they're just not there. That was the Feltins, I think it was. So
yeah,
that's one for we could save for a warmer climate. And then Dean actually messaged me this afternoon and said, would I be interested in a Warsteiner as well? So yeah, I'm happy to do it. So of course, we will be reviewing the Warsteiner, which in the German version is just called Pilsner, but I think the UK one's got a like Verdus or something like that.
yeah, Premium Verum.
Premium Verum, and I think that's what the American market gets as well. I mean, they're the same beer, but I don't know why they've been labelled differently.
Yeah.
But this is coming in at 4.8%. Not too sure about the IBUs, but it just says the ingredients are room water, barley malts, hops, and hop extract. Not too sure exactly what hops and what hop extract they've used, but I've got a rough idea. And the best before date on my bottle is the 28th of the 10th, 2017. So again, not too sure how fresh that would be.
5th of the 10th, 17.
So pretty similar batches. Is the stuff that you guys get imported, or is it like brewed under contract?
The ingredients. No, there's no sign of. I've just got Warsteiner Brewery House Crema. Their website. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'd imagine it was imported then, which is good.
Product for Germany.
But yeah, really nice and simple label, quite iconic. And that is I think the crowns might be a bit different as well. And just as yeah, yours is different. I think I'm not sure if these are new, the versions I've got, because I remember getting those ones where it's the actual Warsteiner logo. But yeah, one of those iconic labels, and a beer that you can find in most places now in the UK, from my experience. Like some pubs have it, some bars have it, and the supermarkets have it as well.
Yeah, most of the big boys over here have it. You can get it in a few of the co-ops, local co-ops. I picked this 4-pack up for Morrison's. It was around about the £4.50 mark, or you could get the. Is it 500ml bottles, Peter, the big ones, or is 600s?
I know you. Well, obviously, I know you can get the 500s, but you might actually be able to get the 600s as well. Not too sure about that in Germany.
It might be 500s, where they do an offer like 3 for £5. A few 600ml plus bottles in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I opted for the 4-pack for today.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get this opened and see what we get. Didn't get too much smoke on mine.
Only a little bit.
as far as pilsers go, that is a pretty damn pale one.
I think your glass does it more justice than mine. It's a bit more. You've got a bit more.
Yeah, maybe, but I always seem to get these massive clouds of head, which makes it hard to smell. But yeah, I'm using a small Pilsner glass, one of the few style specific glasses that I have. But yeah, I've got a nice amount of carbonation in mine. Not sure how well that's picking up on camera.
Yeah, plenty more than what I've got in mine. Mine's really slow and steady.
Anyway.
A great deal, really. Head's dissipating. It's nice, pure white head.
Yeah, I've got about 3 fingers on mine, and it seems to be coming down nicely.
Did you say straw-like in appearance?
Yeah, a very pale straw colour I'm getting. I'm not sure if it's your lighting, but yours looks a little bit darker than mine. But again, could be a combination of the glassware and what I'm seeing on the screen, to be honest. It's always hard to really gauge, I find, the colour of a beer, because you'll say it's the specific colour and you watch your video back and you're like, looks completely different. But yeah, mine very, very pale golden Pilsner. And to be honest, I've been drinking primarily Pilsners recently because I've been in the mood for them. And yeah, this is quite a bit lighter than some of those ones that I've had. But lovely clarity, and yeah, it looks exactly like you'd expect it to be honest. Crisp and clean.
As Sofa King Drunk would say, German efficiency.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, amazing, no? Nice bready whiff to it.
Yeah. And like a bread crust on mine, and not, you get that grainy aroma, but it's not too grainy. The Czech Pilsners, I find, you rarely get a lot of
spicy whiff to it.
Like a sort of like a gentle white pepper sort of aroma.
Yeah, white pepper. Yeah.
A little bit grassy.
Yeah, lemongrass.
Yeah. Not really a citrus, but again, more like a lemongrass sort of thing. Now, actually, the more I smell it, the more peppery it seems to be, the one that I'm smelling. No off flavours either, nothing offensive on that.
Nothing at all, no.
I mean, it's not the most exciting smelling beer, but I can't think of too many pilsners where you smell them and, you know, it's an overload of anything. But
no, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's got that macro whiff about it, but in a nice way. It's a very pleasant.
Just a unoffensive sort of smell, isn't it? You know, these sort of beers, they're just quaffable beers, aren't they? They're not meant to be complex.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can really get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still find them rewarding to drink, especially when it's. I mean, what is it now? It's nearly 9 o'clock, and it's still really, really muggy here.
Yeah.
So this is going to go down the treat.
Yeah, this is just from the aroma alone, I can tell that this is a perfect beer for this time of year. But yeah, smells pretty damn solid. Let's go in for a taste. Cheers.
Prost.
The first thing that comes to my head, it doesn't taste as bright as you'd expect it to be. It's got that like gentle crispness, but then it almost like bulks up a little bit towards the back end and then like fizzles out. I'm getting lots of grain in that first swig.
Ready grain, yeah.
Yeah. Not really picking up any citrus character in there. It might just be very, very faint in the background.
I'm getting a bit of like a there's a bit of a prickle on the finish for me, a hot prickle, but it's really sort of delicate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
refreshing, all that, yeah.
Yeah, definitely thirst quenching, as you'd expect. Because you do find some pilsners, they just have this, not necessarily skunk, because I think when you get a skunked beer, it can sometimes work in the beer's favour, as long as it's not too overwhelming and there's still other flavours to back it up.
Mm.
But this, yeah, I don't know, to me, it's not the most, it's like the tastiest pilsner that I've had.
Oh,
But at the same time, there's really nothing offensive about it.
it's no Augustino or anything like that, is it? I mean, I'll say it just for the sec because we're actually reviewing a Pilsner lager, but
Yeah.
it falls into that category with all the other beers of this style worldwide, not just German related, you know, where they all mold into one, don't they? You know.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to sort of pull it apart from, you know, I don't know, a Pilsner from Libya or America or whatever, you know. It's middle of the road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a standard, slightly above board macro pilsner at the end of the day. And it comes through in the tanks. The only thing that I'm getting that's throw me off a little bit is right on the back end. There's like, I'm getting a sensation on my tongue, like you sometimes get with like ginger powder when you've put that in like a curry or something, and it's sort of like, it doesn't tingle, but it doesn't numb the tongue, but you can feel that it's drawing moisture from it, and I'm getting a slight sensation similar to that. Which
do you think that's anything to do with like the hop extract that they've used?
It could be, because I don't know, it's the whole like hop extract sort of stuff. I wouldn't really be able to tell you the difference in characteristics of like the hop extract version of a specific hop. But I don't know, it's got this. It's just I can't put my finger on it. It's really hard to explain. I mean, it's nothing awful. It's not like I've got to stop drinking this beer now, pour it away.
Stands out for you.
Yeah. It's quite strange, actually. But aside from that, hop characteristics, it's very gentle, slightly prickly, a little bit spicy. There's like a little bit of earthiness to it as well.
Yeah, very, very subtle on the spice, like a dusting of white pepper running through it, but
Yeah.
it is very mute with it.
Well, you definitely get the bitterness from the hop. I'd say it's slightly a bit more bitter than some pilsners. But again, that could, like you were saying, that could potentially be the use of the hop extract.
I think I've had a few beers before where I've noticed on the back of that it says hop extract. I suppose that's just a shortcut for the brewers to save money, isn't it? I don't know anything about it really. I'm guessing it's just a substitute to minimise cost.
Yeah. But it's like this weird thing. It's a fairly standard beer by all accounts, but it doesn't taste like a cheap beer. It's definitely got that. It's got that sense of quality to it.
It's got German quality that people that it comes as standard, doesn't it? These sort of breweries, it's standard. But yeah, there's nothing cheap tasting about it. It's got that, it's a premium pilsner, isn't it? Without being disrespectful to it, because I know a lot of people, the word premium is sort of like junk basically. But it's got the classic German quality about it. Yes, it's not the best German beer, but it's not awful.
No, there's nothing really wrong with it at all. But it's not really reinventing the wheel or anything. But I don't think they're setting out to do that with a beer like this. I don't think that's their intention at all, to be honest. And I can definitely see why it has the reputation that it has, and why it's a popular beer for people. And it's one of those few occasions where I think the stuff that you get in Germany is going to be exactly the same as what gets exported to all over the world, or to wherever regions and territories where it is. I don't think that it's one of those beers where the version you get in the UK or somewhere in America, they won't skimp on quality just because they've had to export it that cost. Because they probably do have specific sections in the brewery. I'm not too sure, but I'd imagine they have specific sections in their brewery, and then what comes out of this vat will go to here. But then again, it could all just be all from the exact same sort of, because I'd imagine they've got a massive amount of technology in their brewery and stuff.
And I suppose they don't really have to fight for a place on the pumps at a Brauhaus in Germany. I suppose it's quite easy to get hold of in the bars over there.
Oh yeah, I mean every supermarket, every little beer shop, there'll always be that section with stuff like the Beck's beers, Krombacher, Kulmbacher, all of the bigger breweries. And I think I think we've come to that point now where, with all these takeovers and stuff like that, where people are just, if it's a big beer company, they must be bad. And I'm seeing that a lot. I mean, would you be able to get a more tasty and satisfying craft pilsner Probably, but at the same time, you might get the word they've just completely demolished the Pilsner style and just put loads of hops in it. But do you want a product that's consistent in quality, and you can have it like at the start of the year and then not drink it at all, and then at the end of the year you buy another one? I don't think there'll be too many changes in like the quality of the ingredients, the quality of the brewing process. I think you'll get a consistent beer no matter where you are with something like Warsteiner. And it's a good economical choice. I mean, you get beers that are much, much cheaper, and you'll get beers that are much more expensive even on like the bigger German market. But it's one of those beers that it'll be at like gigs, it'll be at events and stuff like that. And you know that you're going to have a good couple of pints from it. It's not going to be anything too fantastic, but at the same time, it's not going to be pumped full of chemicals and preservatives and forced carbonated and that sort of stuff.
Do you think this is a fair, would you say this is the German Pilsner Urquell?
It could well be. I'd say it's either between the Warsteiner Pils or the maybe Kulmbacher Pils. I think those are the two. They're like the sort of Budweiser Budvar and Pilsner Urquell of the German Pilsner market. And it's one of those things where you'll go to the supermarket, and chances are you'll see, a few people in a short amount of time buying like a pallet of it, like 15 bottles of it for one go, and for the price, it's a serviceable beer. So it's definitely a very popular beer here in Germany.
What would the rating wise then for this?
I'd probably give it something like a 7 out of 10. It's sort of like that. It's that point, like the middle point between of being an average Pilsner and then being like world-class Pilsner. It's not a world-class beer, but at the same time, it's not a dull beer. So it's like really, I don't know. I think calling it a middle of the road beer might be a bit too harsh. So it's definitely got its merits, I'd say. And it's one of those beers where you wouldn't say no if it got offered to you. Definitely not.
Definitely not. I mean, it's a shame it's not available on the taps at some of the places like Witherspoons and stuff like that. Just to be, to break up the norm from the stuff that they have on there.
And that's the thing. I think this could do really well in a place like Wetherspoons.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It would create interest for sure. It's a German lager Pilsner. I think it would sell. It wouldn't be, I don't know. I mean, the Witherspoon in my town, they, like all Witherspoons, have got their craft thing going on. Staff that work there aren't really interested on going into depths about beers like that. I suppose they've been educated about it. They're just, all that. That's all they want to do. But something like this, or Pilsner Urquell for that matter, if that was, on the taps, it wouldn't be a dead duck, would it? I think it would sell.
No, it would sell. They'd get through the allotted shipments, and they get through their stock quite easily. I'd imagine.
Yeah, it would go, but you never know, it might happen.
Maybe do. I mean, it's such an iconic and big name. even to some of the more casual beer drinkers. Like it's that Pilsner that you'd drink on holiday.
Yeah.
Because you'd see it a lot more, obviously. And then you go back home, you're like, oh, I really want a couple of bottles of that.
Yeah.
And I think even in the most basic of pubs, I think this would stand up well with what some of the regulars would drink. Because it's got that sense of it's an accessible beer, I'd say. But
it gives you everything that, if you're not into beer, like say like we are, you just go out with your mates now and again at weekends, and you're not bothered what you drink. Tick the box for a person like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's not going to destroy their palates. They're not going to think, oh, I'm not drinking this, it's revolting or anything. It's just a holiday beer, something you've had. You go over to Germany, you try it, and then you're intrigued by it, and like you say, you want to come back and you want to try it here in the UK. Yeah, it's one of them beers.
I'd say it's like one of those beers that, like, beers of Europe probably go through quite a lot of, because I'm sure you can buy the Warsteiner stuff from Beers of Europe, and it's one of those iconic, like, German beers that is probably quite a big seller, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no complaints with it really.
Yeah,
steady beer. I'll go with you on that score, 7 out of 10. I think that's fair for it.
It's one that I'd happily drink again. But there would probably be Pilsners that I would go for before having this one. But yeah, I'd be happy with a 6-pack when I've just at a friend's house or doing something with family or something like that. Because it's just one of those ones where it's not really a good beer to review per se, but it's just a good beer to drink. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Before we go into the Guinness, quickly go through the ratings on the those websites. So Rate Beer has not been fair to this beer at all, as you'd probably expect. So Rate Beer has given this 16 overall, but it's 39 for style. I don't even know what to make of that, to be honest. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I know we pretty much, whenever we're doing a live show or doing a review, whenever we reference Rate Beer, it's 9 times out of 10 they don't know what the hell they're talking about, but it's always interesting to see potential beers getting an actually good score. But 16. That's not a 16 out of 100 beer to me.
No, it's worth more than that. It's worth more than that.
Yeah.
I did a Romanian a couple of days ago, and that on Rate Beer, I think they gave it a 5, and style it was 40. This ridiculous.
Yeah, I just don't get it. But Beer Advocate, I think, is more in line with what we've got to say, with an overall score of 78, and the Bros gave it an 84 out of 100, which I think is a pretty solid and fair score. And then Untapped, it always seems to be about 3 point something, no matter what beer it is on Untapped. 3.24 out of 5 from 117,814 ratings. So it gets around a bit.
Little great beer.
Yeah. It's such a fun website, Right Beer. Although it's good if you want to find out about styles. That's probably the only time I really take Rate Beer seriously. I mean, I'll always mention it in reviews so I can give a rounded score for people who, for some reason, take Rate Beer seriously. But yeah, just some of the beers that they've given like less than 100, like less than 10 to, and it's like that's just insane. You must have had the shittest bottle of that beer that was ever made to get these
I think
scores.
the whole site is just anti-lager, really, isn't it? I go on there quite a bit just to pluck information off the the commercial description information, and you look at the scores and you think, what, it's, come on, you just got to give it a break, give it a chance. It's ridiculous.
Yep, I think there's just an unfair bias in general to beers like this because people always think of like the Carlsbergs and the Stellas and Carlings and like the American equivalents of like the more malt liquor sort of stuff, and it's like most of them probably don't try these beers to actually give them an honest review. They go in there thinking, oh, this is going to be absolutely awful. I'm going to hate this beer. This is a bullshit beer. And then when they get to reviewing it, that comes out in their review, and you can clearly tell. And it's like, if you're actually being as objective as you claim to be, it doesn't have to be your cup of tea. It doesn't have to be a beer that you actually really enjoy. But to give stuff like this, like 16 out of 100, I don't know what planet you're living on, to be honest.
Yeah. There is just, for me, you might as well just put fucking 0 on there, aren't you, to be honest with you? What it means. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, but I think 99% of people who do reviews on YouTube, they know what Rate Beer is all about now, so it's like become this like big running joke.
Yeah, it'll keep going as well, won't it? Keep going, because I can't see it change. I can't see them changing.
No.
Their mind is firmly made up on what they think about beers like lagers and pilsners. So, fair play, just run with it.
Yeah. I mean, even like Beer Advocate, when people reference the Bros score, when they're trying to make a point about like a beer, I don't think the Bros have actually reviewed a beer for like a couple of years now. I think that was something that they've just stopped doing. The guys who did they run the website, or were they someone who got brought in? I can't remember, but I don't think they've actually reviewed a beer for like 2 or 3 years, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I did hear that before. I'm not too sure if it was or Jay Terrier on one of their videos. They mentioned that about the Bros. With their stagnant, it's all gone a bit flat for them not doing. Yeah, I think there was some truth in that, Peter. I don't go on there. I don't look on there though.
No,
but from what I've heard from other people,
yeah, I think Untapped's a really good resource actually. I think it's a lot more honest because people actually upload the photos of the beer, and you can say where you had it and how you had it and that sort of thing. So I think you just get a much more like honest feel. I mean, of course, you're going to get bias anyway. I mean, you'll see something like Trillium always getting like upwards of 4 out of 5. That's just natural. I mean, I can't defend Trillium because I've never tried any of them, but I'm sure there is truth into that. But then you get all this sort of like hype, and then it's sort of that plays into like kind of the prejudice that people have against like the macro lagers and that sort of stuff. So I think you should always take, even like a YouTube review, you should always take it with a pinch of salt at the end of the day, because it's just, you know, there are so many factors in a beer review. If you're having a shit day and you have a beer that you don't like, you know, you're prone to just say, this is shit, don't drink it. But if it was the best day of your life, you know, you drink the same beer and you're like, oh, this is wonderful, this is fantastic. So it's
in your surroundings, your mood, you know, what beer you're actually having at the time. There's lots of like, not hidden factors, but it's very sort of, you know, like the old cliche, isn't it? If you've got a lump of steak in a restaurant, you're not really going to have a white wine with it, are you? You're going to have a red wine with a steak.
No, it's a weird and wonderful thing. I think that could be like a discussion for its whole video about like the way people beer tube, because there's no right or wrong review for the most part. I mean, sometimes you can see when someone's just purely saying like negative or overly positive things about beer, but thankfully I don't know that many people who are prone to be like that, which is a good thing.
No, you just got to say it like it is, haven't you? And we've all got different ways of approaching that. You know, what's your favourite meal?
Yeah.
What's your favourite meal? Mine's shepherd's pie. But you're not going to dig that, or maybe you do. I don't know, but that.
I like a good shepherd's pie. I don't know. That's it. Well, this sort of place. I wouldn't be able to say what my favourite meal is right now, because tomorrow I could say, oh, I'm really in the mood, or I really enjoy this, and then the day after, something else could be my favourite meal. It's probably something like a pizza, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just amazing how you can. I don't know. That's one of the things that I love about BeerTube, is just how dynamic it can be, for the better and for worse. And it's never a dull moment. This is not a dull hobby at all. It's never gets dull for me. Even if I'm on a run of just drinking bad beers, it's the idea of like telling people, oh, this is a bad beer, and like when it like gets to you about how just annoyingly dull a beer can be, it's like I'd much rather have a really bad beer on a review than a beer that's just like, I've got nothing to say. There's just nothing to this beer at all. I don't know. It's fun.
You almost got your fingers crossed, haven't you? Thinking, please deliver.
Yeah. It's like, give me something to say. Give me a talking point about this.
I need these words. I can't keep saying crisp, clean, refreshing.
Yeah.
Like the old thing with Simon, isn't it? Chocolate, coffee, caramel.
Yeah. It's like, I get a bit of grapefruit. Yeah. How many beers do you get grapefruit from? So you're always trying to like break it. I don't know. We could go on all night about that.
Different video piece of this is. It's got to be.
So I'll quickly read the comments that we have before we get on to the next beer. So Craig wrote, "Hi guys, great to see you back together." And Basement Beer Reviews says, "Cheers, gents." I don't have anything in my glass at the moment, but cheers to both of you guys. Thank you for watching. And thank you to anyone else who's watching right now. So, next beer then.
Yeah.
And again, this is something that you could probably dedicate a whole video to, just how many different beers and variations Guinness do. So, from what I researched the two beers that we're drinking today. They should be the same beer, just labeled differently for the different territories. And if not, then it's always good to talk about Guinness. I think Guinness get a really bad rap, to be honest.
Yes, they do.
And I can't think of any specific example, but when I was looking up, trying to find out like variations of the different beers, I was like looking up the history of Guinness and some of the stuff that they've done throughout the years, and they've done a lot for the community, local community in Ireland, and I think they even did a thing during World War II where all of the families in the nearby area, it might have been nationwide actually, where when the soldiers came home, they all got a free glass of Guinness, and if anyone who was working for the brewery got called up, they'd always have a job to return to and that sort of thing, and the families would still get like 40% of like what their wage was, stuff like that. So there's quite a big and rewarding history to Guinness.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think people, I don't know, yeah, they just treat the brewery really unfairly, in my opinion. And I'm actually a big fan of Guinness. What? Sorry, Dean.
Yeah, I do. I mean, this beer in question that we're doing shortly. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's fantastic, and it's probably the best beer that they make. I have been critical in the past, and I will put my hands up. I have had a few Guinness beers, project beers, that I wasn't particularly keen on myself. When you try something like this, you forget all about them beers then, because the beer that we're having is a fantastic beer.
Yeah, and this is one that I've had a few times, because the regular Guinness draft in cans is really expensive compared to what you pay back in the UK. To the point where it's like I couldn't justify buying, because you're paying like nearly, in some places, nearly €2 for like a 440ml can of the Guinness draft. And that's one of the beers that I'm not the biggest fan of anyway, in the can form. Even though it's got the little the nitrin ball, I can never remember what they're called.
Yeah.
I think if you want to have Guinness that way, you're best off having it actually on draft. And one of my all-time favourite drinks, and one that I always go back to when I'm back in England. The main reason because I never seem to get a hangover at all from it, no matter how many I throw back. But it's the Guinness Extra Cold. There's something about that beer that it's just such a satisfying beer. It's not the most flavoursome of beers or anything like that. There's just something about that beer, the mouthfeel, the creaminess, the almost the lack of flavour. Yeah, the lack of flavour almost helps as well, because it's just this. It's just the way it's so hard to explain, but there's just something about Guinness Extra Cold that I'll never say no to.
Never like that.
Yeah, definitely recommended. I mean, compared to like a milk stout or something like that, it's probably not going to be as creamy, but it's like this weird thing. It's creamy, but it's not heavy. So it's like something, but then it's like the complete opposite. It's strange, but Guinness in general, I'm a big fan of, and even though from my own experience as well, drinking some of the Brewers Project stuff, some of them have missed the mark. I think it's good that Guinness are actually doing that, and they're not like half-heartedly doing these like special brews and recipes. They're actually doing it properly and that sort of thing. But yeah, Guinness I've always got time for.
The West Indies porter, that's a really solid beer. That is. Wasn't a big fan of the Dublin porter. Nice, but not as good as the West Indies porter. And the Antwerp, which is one of their new beers that they brought out a few months back now, along with the Milk Stout. Loving good beers. Good beers.
They're two beers that I've really wanted to try, especially the Milk Stout. But I think even like, and this is going to play into a constant theme, but like I think the Antwerpen Stout has been available in like America for a good couple of years now, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. It's like, it's mental.
Yeah, you go into obviously the beer websites to try and find information about the beers, and there's like this big list, and then you'll click on it, and then it's like, oh, this is just an alias of this beer, and it's such a vast amount of beers.
I was watching one of the American beer cheapers the other day, and he was reviewing a Guinness beer, and I looked at the bottle, and I think it was a wheat beer.
Yeah, I've seen that one for
Guinness, and I was like, fucking hell, it's amazing how you think we'd get them first, wouldn't you? But I don't know, weird. It always baffles me.
Yeah, that's why it's nearly a pain in the arse just to review the Guinness beers, because you don't want to get it confused with what other people, if they ask you questions about it. It's like I don't know. I don't know if this is available in, because it's not just like about being available in Europe or America. You'll find like beers that are literally only available in like areas like the West Indies or South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's like it's insane to me, and I'd love to be able to try, even if they're the same recipe as some of the beers that we get here. It just, I don't know. It goes back to, I think beer is just a wonderful thing. It's not just a drink.
Definitely not.
There's definitely not. There's a story to it. There's these little weird, intricate histories, and
I mean, going back in the day, it was a community builder, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Called Boozer. It was part of the community. You went there. All right, probably twiggy beer, but there was nothing to compare it to back then. And you met people, and it's a community thing. It's the hub of the community, and that's slowly been ripped away from us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is disappointing to see all these boozers closing, and they're still closing to this day. All right, craft beer bars are booming, and they seem to be springing up all over the shop. But the local boozer, the local watering hole, that seems to be fading away slowly, and that's a shame, really.
It's fading away, and it has this reputation of like, it's going to sound, I don't mean it to sound bad, but a lot of people see like a good, like classic British pub as like where some of the down and outs will go to, and that sort of thing. And like all the loud football fans who are there on like the Saturdays and Sundays and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel much more comfortable in like a quiet pub than like a overly packed, tiny, like craft beer bar.
Yeah, I must admit, we don't do it so much now. Now we've got kids, but me and the missus, we used to go sort of countryside And you know, I'd have a nice bit of pub grub. You know, I'd have a good pint of ale, whatever was on, and it was just sort of getting out in the sticks. And you know, some of these pubs, you'd be the only people in there, you know.
Yeah.
But still had a nice environment, nice atmosphere.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm not really a fan of going out into the towns, to be honest with you, because you just you order your drink, you wade through a load of people, you go to sit down, and you've got half a pint. You know, you've spilled half of it just trying to get to
people
the
knocking
table.
into.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like every time I'm back in the UK, when I'm visiting family, like my mum will say, "Oh, should we go to the Lake District today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good," because I love the Lake District. It's probably, aside from Manchester, because I love Manchester city centre. I mean, Manchester in general. There's just something about Manchester that I love. But like the Lake District, I mean, we go to some places where like the three pubs that are near you are pretty much all owned by like Marston's or Theakston's or something like that. And you know, they're not going to have the biggest range or anything like that, but it's just so satisfying to sit there with like in the Lake District with a pint of something from Jennings outside, and you've got like mountains surrounding you. And it's like, I'd much rather have this drinking experience than most like inner city drinking experiences where you've got like a 330ml glass of like a small batch like IPA that you've paid like £7 for in this like bar where there's so many people. And it's like that's why I rarely like real ales. I rarely like lagers. I like that sort of stuff because it's beer that you can just sit back with.
Yeah, I like the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I haven't got one preference. I've probably said to you before about it. It's all beer to me.
Yeah.
Some beer's better than other beer. But it's just nice just trying everything.
Yeah.
From a macro beer from bloody China to Manchester or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it all.
Yeah, and it's like this always happens when I'm back in England. I just love to go to like the local Asda or something like that and see what's available in there, like £4 for £6, and I'm like, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to get like 20, well, not that much in one go, but like 4, 8, 10 beers for a good price. That, you know, they're probably not the greatest beers you're going to drink, but I just miss that sort of variety. I mean, of those sorts of beers, and I do sometimes when I'm back in England get a little bit worn out from drinking like golden ale and then a ruby ale and then like a blonde ale, because you do find that a lot of them, they sort of have very similar characteristics, so you get burnt out a little bit. But I still love like going to the local supermarket and seeing what's on offer and all the stuff that like some people look down on and that sort of thing. It's like, I don't get to drink that stuff often, so I'm gonna make damn sure that I'm going to take advantage of what's available in some of the supermarkets and like local, like even farm shops, that sort of stuff. That stuff satisfies me, because what you can get in a bottle shop, you can probably get online for the most part. So there's, I don't know, it's a weird. But then again, I could be in the mindset where I'm like, oh, I need to go to like the local craft bottle shop and stock up on all these beers that people are all talking about. I mean, stuff like Verdant and things like that.
Yeah. I need to start. Desperately need to get some of their beers. I don't know when I'll be able to do that, because the bottle shop. Well, the bottle shop that I go to, Beer Gonzo in Coventry. I think they had some in, but it didn't last long on the shelves.
Yeah.
Straight out the door. It's just keeping up with it all, and that gives me a bit of an headache. Something, do I need to get minded about this sort of thing? So I'll just,
Yeah.
it will turn up one day.
Yeah.
Whenever.
That's thing. It's like if a small batch is really successful, chances are the brewery will brew it again. Something like $10 shake, for example. It wouldn't surprise me if they brew that again or something comparative on a much more regular basis, especially with the IPA climate now where it's all about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think we might see that appear again. We got that, didn't we, with their Caribbean chocolate cake?
Yeah.
I can remember having it the first time around. That would have been, maybe 2 years ago. And then it came out again. I missed out on the second batch, but I think Craig, he got a bottle, and maybe one or two of the other guys got it. So yeah, I think we'll definitely see that appear again. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just that's all part and parcel of the hobby, I suppose. Yeah, getting back onto our topic, because I seem to have pushed this into a completely different direction. So I've got a bottle of the Guinness Extra Stout. And I think you got is it the original, or is yours the...
I've got the Guinness Foreign Extra.
Guinness Foreign Extra. So I think these are similar. If not, I think yours might be a little bit higher on the ABV. Because mine's 4.1. So I think it could be a different recipe. Yours is, I think, just like the Imperial Strength version of it. So yeah, there still should be similarities between them. But yeah, mine was actually brewed at St James's Gate, which I was expecting, because I don't think they've got too many breweries actually in Europe. I think they've got the UK, then I think they've got premises in America, and then some of the like the old British territories, I think.
Okay.
I'm not too sure though. But yeah.
No, I did a vertical with the one I've got, and I thought it was the Nigerian version, but someone left a comment on that video saying it's actually this one is actually brewed in Ireland. I must have said it was the Nigerian version. I don't know what made me say that. I just apparently it's brewed in Ireland.
Yeah, and it's that thing again. It's really quite confusing to like actually pin down some of these. I don't know, but yeah, fairly iconic again looking labels for both of them, with the Arthur Guinness signature on the bottom, and of course
good old Arthur.
And the harp, and yeah, Guinness. You can't go wrong most of the time with them. And I'm sure we used to get the Foreign Extra Stout here in Germany, but I've not seen that for years, for like a good couple of years. So I'm not sure if they've just stopped distributing that.
Beautiful.
It's subtle on my bottle, but I get lovely, like slightly roasted coffee. Smells good already. probably didn't pick the best glass for this one, but yeah. Let me see. I don't think mine's jet black, but it's a very, very rich dark, sort of like a. Yeah,
I'd say jet black on mine, maybe sort of. Yeah, well.
Because if I look at the God, I'm blinding people with my light there, but when I look at the bottom of the glass, you do get that sort of like chestnut ruby hue, but when you get to the main body of the glass, that is black as night. Yeah, very rich looking beer. I poured again 3 fingers worth of a tan-coloured head, a nice mixture of small compact bubbles and then the odd big bubble in between.
Mine's like a beautiful, maybe just nearly a finger of almost. To me, it looks like mocha ice cream.
Well, that looks good.
It looks really creamy.
Yeah, mine's a bit more on the foamy side. So I'm obviously expecting a little bit of a lighter body than what you've got. Get a lovely roasted chestnuts coming from this one, and some slight dark berries as well. A little bit of chocolate and coffee. Yeah, definitely vinous.
Boozy vinous, dark fruits.
Yeah. Not getting too much booze on mine, but mine is at 4.1, so I wouldn't expect that. But you do sometimes get not like an alcohol smell, but sort of like I get sometimes brandy from some imperial, like, well, not even imperial stouts at like the 4 to 5 cent, where it's not like a burning alcohol. It's more of like what you'd expect from like a slightly reduced brandy almost. And
I mean, the smell from this, it almost reminds me of like a really sort of a boozy sangria almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can, that alcohol is definitely in there. Well, yeah, sangria it's wine, isn't it? And fruit and wine.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that sort of like that sort of whiff to it.
As that heads died down, I'm getting a lot more of a viscous, fruity character as opposed to the chocolatey coffee, but it's still there. Almost has that sort of like dark chocolate covered. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, it's like this combination of like this roasty, toasty, slightly coffee, dark chocolate, but then you get this really nice, like dark fruit. It's like woody character coming through. Quite complex, it has to be said.
I was amazed the first time of trying it. I mean, this is the only the second time of trying this particular beer, and I'm quite disappointed that I haven't tried it before because it's bloody great stuff. It's like, it's one of these sort of, it's been around for donkey's years. You almost feel like you've cheated yourself by and not having it way back.
Yeah, it's a lovely looking beer in the glass. And yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment of you see these beers around you, and then like a few years down the line you end up drinking them and you're like, what? Where has this been?
What's been going there? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there, yeah. Looks good. Smells good. Draw to chase good. Cheers.
Yeah.
Mine's got a lovely. It's not a weak body, but it's a little bit lighter than I expected and remembered for the regular extra stout. But it's still a satisfying mouthfeel. Carbonation, not too vigorous, but just enough to gently like swill the beer around the palate. But as lighted as it is, it leaves this sort of a nice film, almost like a sticky treacle sensation in the mouth, which is, I don't know, it's like it's playing games because it's a, I'd say the regular extra stout is more along the lines of maybe a dry stout, because I do get that drying sensation on the back end, but it's sticky at the same time and it lingers.
Yeah, I've got that very much so in my beer as well. Thick mouthfeel to it, heavy body to it. I mean, 7.5%. Shows that fineness. That's really nice. Beautiful roastiness to it. A touch of coffee. I'll probably be more inclined to say yours is a bit more orientated than mine. It is in mine, but it's not as really fantastic. I mean, at the end of the day, I paid £1. I paid £1.80 for that. You're getting an imperial stout for £1.80. You can't knock it.
Yeah, you can't say no. And from my experience with the foreign extra stout, that's a lovely beer. It's like one of those perfect end of the night, end of the session type beers.
Yeah.
Because it's not too high in the ABV, but even though you do get the alcohol on the flavour, I think it's one of those times where it actually works to the beer's credit, where it makes you respect it a bit more and to just sip it, take your time with it, and enjoy it.
A relaxing, you know. I'm slouching in my chair. I'm relaxed. I've got a lovely beer. You know, it's one of them sort of beers. It's changed my mood. You're not just gonna chug it back for the sake of it.
No.
You know, no.
I mean, I get on my one. I get a lot more of a. It's not like smoky in like a Rauch beer sense, where it's like literally ingesting smoke. Even though that sounds like a diss in the style. Rauch beers they're just a beautiful style beer, but it's got that sort of like when you're having a barbecue and you get the smoke at the back of your throat. That sort of sensation, and I think this would be perfect if you were to have a cigar with it, because I think if you had like a mild cigar, I think the smokiness and dryness in this wouldn't see. My only experience with cigars really are more like cigarellos when like New Year's Eve when we'd be at the pub and we'd buy like a cheap pack of 4. But I'm been taken back to that with the smokiness and the dryness, and you get that slight berry quality, but it's very, very faint. There's more of like a woodiness to it, and I think it's an absolutely lovely little stout.
Yeah, like you said, we cracked it open. You know, sort of brand, you're going to have the haters, and then you're going to have the admirers. Me personally, I'm neither. You know, I just it's a good beer. Definitely buy this one again for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean,
I know I've spent a damn sight more money before on beers.
Yeah.
Imperial stouts. They've been about the same or slightly better maybe, but only slightly better. Treble the price.
Yeah. But that's like when you have access to beers like that for a fraction of the price, and there's not even like that risk either that you get with some of these beers. You know, you can buy a couple. That's your stuff sorted for the night. And as I'm talking now, that sort of smokiness is actually building up to the point where it's almost like I've been drinking like a very subtle Rauch beer, which again that appeals to my tastes perfectly because I love those characteristics of smoked beers, and you slightly get that in this one, and you definitely get that woody flavour, but not like that twiggy sense that you sometimes find.
No, more like I mean, to this one, you know, I am getting maybe a bit of oakiness to it, like you know, a barrel aged beer would suggest, you know, that sort of woodiness to it.
Yeah, you almost get that sort of, this could have been aged in something. I mean, I'm not too sure about the actual brewing process of either of these beers, but I don't think barrels have been involved in that way.
I don't think they have, no.
But I think the Extra Stout, and I think it's known as the Guinness Original, back in the UK and Ireland, I think this is based on one of Arthur Guinness's original, I think it was called the Superior Porter. So this is going back to like really early stages of Guinness in general, I think. So it's sort of like from what I read at least, the regular Extra Stout is sort of like a precursor to the Brewers Project that they did. So you know, it's got that sort of, if you're into your beer culture and beer history, this beer definitely has that, as well as being a damn good stout in general. It's got its own story and it's got its own history to it, and it just adds to the drinking experience for me personally, because it makes me think this is what it might have tasted like a few hundred years ago. Yeah, this is what beer and ale could be. Yeah.
Little paragraph on the back of mine, I'll just quickly go over it. Brewed to travel the world with more hops and rich flavour. This is Guinness with adventure. Serve chilled and drink in the beauty of Guinness for an Extra Stout. More hops. I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, it's just about to ask you got any hoppy characters?
Not really, no. I mean, there's a bit of bitterness on the finish, but that roasted malts, I'm not really getting any hoppiness to it. But I don't really expect to get hoppiness from a stout, really.
No, you wouldn't want that anyway. It's like this whole white stout stuff, because again, I think it's just one of these, like, it's not supposed to be a stout, but it harkens back to what the word stout means, like a strong beer.
Strong.
So I think when you get a lot of these white stouts, they're just like strong, almost IPAs, but they're not quite double IPAs. And yeah, I don't know, but yeah, something like this. I don't want hoppiness. Maybe a slight hop bitterness might help. Something like this, or might add a little extra level to it, but I don't think it needs it.
Or if you get like a coffee intense bitterness, which you would get from coffee, the bitter espresso sort of bite to it. That bitterness with actual, a coffee bean, which for me, I'm quite comfortable having that in a stout, because coffee, that's part of the makeup of a good stout. But a hoppy prickle, hoppy bitterness, you expect to see it or want it in a stout. That's my opinion on it. My palate, really want it in there. And I'm not getting it in this, not at all. It's stupidly drinkable as well. It's 7.5. It is. It's. Yeah. You do get the warmth, but you can get. Sometimes you can get these real poor quality beers that are quite sort of 6.8, 7% ABV. And instantly, you've got that harsh alcohol mouth, and it's just. You're thinking, this is champagne. Don't want it.
No, cannot finish this beer. But I think this is probably a little less drinkable than yours, because, and I'm finding this the more I drink it, it's not harsh to the point where it's like detracting from the beer, but there is a sense of harshness with that woody coffee bitterness, slight smokiness. It does leave your palate a little bit dry. And, I mean, you're not getting any. I mean, it's only 4.1%. It's amazing how flavourful and complex and satisfying in the mouthfeel a 4.1% stout can be. So, it ticks all the boxes in that way. But there are these strong characteristics towards the back end, which makes you want to. It almost feels like it could be a slightly higher ABV beer, because of just how intense the bitterness and the woodiness becomes. But it's that, I don't mean that in the sense of like it's a fault in the brewing, it's a fault in the recipe. I think it's supposed to be like that, and I'm glad that it is. But I'd struggle to session like a 6-pack of 330ml bottles of this one. If I was to buy it in that way, I'd probably just, whenever I'm in the mood for like a good dry stout that isn't gonna, I don't know, that isn't gonna get me buzzed through a high ABV. I think this is, it becomes an almost go-to stout for me. It's pretty much at that go-to level. And the price
I've
point
never
is.
really... Go on, mate.
I was just going to say the price point is fantastic as well. I think I paid like €1.40 or something like that for a 500ml bottle. I think I'd pay probably comparatively the same price that you would for the foreign extra stout because of the higher ABV, but because outside of the craft market in Germany, you don't really get too many German beers that have stout-like qualities. So it can be quite hard if you're a big fan of stouts to find a beer that you can pick up time and time again and it's not going to hurt your wallet. And I think this is a really good example of a beer that you can always have like a 6-pack in your fridge or something like that. And I think it's a beer that would work chilled, slightly chilled as well. It wouldn't take away too many.
I slightly. It was probably in my fridge for about 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't as cold as the Warsteiner. But there was you could see it just took that ambient edge off it.
Yeah.
Just right for me, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably back to room temperature now, but it's still lovely.
Have you? I'm trying to think. Is it the original XX? Have you had that one? I think it used to have the white label, like the white old-fashioned label.
No, I'm not sure. I might have used that one in the vertical.
Ah, okay.
I'm not too sure actually, Peter.
Yeah, because I'm thinking now that would have been this beer that I'm having. But that's one thing that sort of confused me about Guinness as well, is when they rebrand the labels.
Yeah, they changed the labels about
Yeah.
it. And you think, exactly the same. I fell into that trap thinking, is this a new beer from Guinness, or are they again just to sort of
Try and get more people to drink it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's still a very solid beer, and it's definitely one that I'm gonna pick up again. And if I see the foreign extra stout, then I'm definitely going to pick up that, because the last time I had that, I remember that being just a really lovely, well-rounded, lower imperial strength stout.
and it comes with that luxurious mouthfeel that you wouldn't associate with a mass-produced label. Guinness. Mass-produced. Yeah.
Yeah.
No getting away from that. Because it offers that luxurious. That's what I think surprised me when I first tried it. I don't know what I was expecting from it. I thought it was going to be good, but it was amazing for me. And it still is. 9 out of 10 all day long for me. That.
Yeah. I think if I was to give this a score, I'd probably give it a very solid 8 out of 10. The only thing stopping me from giving it that 2 extra points is dry stouts. They're not my favourite variation on the style. But for a dry stout, this is, if I was to go by a rate beers logic, this would be at least 90 for style. Maybe actually even 100, because I think they've got the style down perfectly. But it's just not completely to my taste. But at the same time, I would happily pick this up again. Especially when it comes to autumn or winter, when you want something that's gonna not warm you up, like in terms of the alcohol, but just to, I don't know, to get you in that like sort of seasonal mood and that sort of thing. But yeah, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. So I'll quickly read the scores of the beer that I have. So Beer Advocate gives this one an 81 out of 100, which I think is pretty solid. Rate Beer strikes again at 48 out of 100 overall, with 35 for style. I don't think we even need to address
Jack
that.
and Ori or what, eh?
Yeah. And Untapped gives it 3.48 out of 5. So, yeah, I think that they've scored that pretty well, to be honest, aside from Rate Beer. But, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Rate Beer strikes again, yeah. It's almost like,
good for a laugh.
Mr. Rate Beer comes to the primary school. Kids, we've got Mr. Rate Beer here, and he's asking a few questions. Yes, yes. Right then, boys and girls, I want you to write numbers on this blackboard of your parents' age and your brothers and sisters' age. And you've just got a random fucking car.
Yeah, that it would not surprise me. Their rating system, it's just ridiculous. But I think more and more people realise just how stupid Rate Beer is. So I'll quickly read the comments that we've had. So Rob over at Hopscene says, watching while sat on the bog. Modern technology is a wonderful thing. Indeed it is. We've all been there. The Little Bible says, the infinite number, or the finite number of infinity is 666. Click on my channel and watch the only video I have to see. Yeah, don't know what to make of that comment, to be honest. And then Hopscene saves the chat by saying, draft Guinness is barely a beer. We'll ignore Rob from now on. And Craig says Hamlet, which I think he's referring to the cigarillo comment that I made. And he also says drinking Guinness in a photo booth, which I'm not too sure what that means, but we appreciate it all the same. I'm sure there's a reference in there somewhere. But yeah, two fairly solid beers. Well, one a lot more solid than the other, but both really good. Both beers I'd happily buy again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got three more of the Pilsners in the fridge, and they'll be just like sort of handy beers just to pull out if I'm doing bits and pieces around the house. Do a quick beer, you know, straight out the bottle, one of them sort of beers.
Yeah, just no need to think about it, just drink it and enjoy it. And that's what I suppose it should be all about, really. Yeah, that's why people buy beer in the first place, is just to have a good time with it.
But yeah, highly recommend both the beers tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, both going down really
They've both got their purpose in life, haven't they?
Oh yeah. There's a beer for every situation, as they say.
Indeed.
So I'm going to call it here, guys. Thank you to everyone who has watched, and to the guys who have commented, and of course to everyone who watches and comments after this has been broadcast. Of course, big thank you to Dean for coming on live with me for review number 9. We'll have to think of something special for number 10. You have to do a big one for 10. So we'll have to get our thinking caps on for that one. If you haven't done so already, I'll put, well, Dean's links are down below to his YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. Are you on Untapped?
I was, but I haven't been on it for ages.
Oh, okay then. Well, yeah.
I'm on there, but I haven't really kept up with it. I think bloody hell, the last post I put on there was probably when I did the bottle share with Craig and Harry, so that would have been back in December, was it?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't keep up with that.
Oh, okay.
I just focus on Instagram and Twitter and obviously YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So Dean's links are down below, and I've also put links down below to both Guinness and Warsteiner. I highly recommend people going onto the Guinness website and looking at the history of the brewery. It's again one of those breweries you could probably dedicate a whole series of videos talking about different aspects of them. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, and we shall hopefully see you for the next live review, whatever that may be. See you later, guys. Cheers.